Ladies and gentlemen, the governor is here in the Bronx again. He's here again. And the last time we were here, we were at he was here, we were at Hostos Community College, and we made a huge announcement as to how we get more of our youth back to work. And time again, every time that we call upon Governor Cuomo, he's been there for the Bronx. He's been there for us big time. And in this case, what we want to do is make a huge announcement, not just for Bronxites, but for the entire state of New York. And what do I mean by that? This announcement is to herald the establishment of the Green Market Regional Food Hub here in Hunts Point. As many of you know, we've had so many challenges in the past as to how is it that we make the Bronx healthier, how is it that we get affordable, nutritious foods to the people of the Bronx. Let's be honest, we've had food deserts here. And all of us have been working in one way, shape, or form to eradicate those food deserts. My office has promoted our farmers markets. We have been working with a wide array of business and government leaders to get the Department of Agriculture to change its rules that would allow families to use their SNAP or EBT benefits online, just to name a few of the things that we've been doing. The brand new Green Market Regional Food Hub will play a major role in healthier lives for Bronx residents, while also strengthening our business community and creating local jobs as well. This food hub will open new pathways to profitable wholesale markets for New York farmers and food businesses, and to create a one-stop shop for regional produced foods, which are increasingly in demand from a range of wholesale buyers, and will improve supply chain efficiencies and will increase the New York City residents' access to affordable and fresh local foods. This issue is particularly of importance to us here in the Bronx and other communities throughout the city of New York. The governor often speaks to us about how is it that as New Yorkers, we are interconnected. You often hear him say that there's a fabric that is woven here in the state of New York that connects all of us to one another. This fabric here today and this announcement today on this new facility is one where you bring in upstate with downstate. You have an ability now, we have an ability to have support for our farmers from the upstate New York, to bring them in and the produce market from upstate New York, bring them here, right to the produce market in Hunts Point, which is probably the largest produce market in the world, or at the very least the Western Hemisphere. You can create jobs, and by the way, this facility will create almost 100 new jobs for South Bronx residents, 200 to 300 indirect jobs. You have a 20,000 square foot facility. It would have rentable storage space for many of our distributors. It would serve as an incubator so that local food produce suppliers can make an income. And not only that, it would allow for Bronxites and many folks throughout the city of New York to be able to purchase the healthy foods that they need. In the state of New York, we have some of the freshest, the best fruits and vegetables in the entire planet. And so, Mr. Governor, when you say that we are all interconnected, here we are in this beautiful facility at Anheuser-Busch. What I often say is a facility that started the discussion here in the South Bronx on green development. This is when they came to us, when I was in the New York State Assembly, we said this building had to be green. Because of that, so many more of the development here in the Bronx has been built in a green, sustainable way. That helps. We're talking about creating jobs. We're talking about a healthier lifestyle. And once again, I remember writing you a letter back in April of 2015 to support this facility, and here you are once again. So when people say, why is it that you like Andrew Cuomo so much? Why is it that you support him so much? The answer is very simple, Mr. Governor. It's because time and time again, since you've been governor, whether it's job creation, whether it's housing, whether it's protecting the environment, whatever it is, in this case is to make sure that we do a service for the entire state of New York. You've been here, you've been visible, you've been proactive, you've put the money where your mouth is, and because of that, as the Bronx Borough President, on behalf of Bronxites and all New Yorkers, I simply want to say thank you. Let's give the governor a strong round of applause. And what's great about having conversations with the governor is that he often puts not only his attention to the issues, but it comes with resources, and it comes with an entire team. Whether we've done things with the State Department of Transportation, the State Department of Labor, I mean, you name it, every time we call, there's an entire team. In this case, he brings together his team, and let me introduce and let me bring up the New York State Agriculture Chair Commissioner, Mr. Richard Ball. Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Thank you, Borough President Diaz, for that nice welcome. Good things are happening in our state, folks. Good things are happening right here today. This is an exciting day for all of us in New York State. It is so exciting for me to be here, having thought about this project and some of the other things that we have underway for some time. I'm happy to be here today to talk a little bit about New York Grown and Certified, which is a program created by our governor that speaks to the times and New York's situation with food, and so happy to appreciate the leadership of our governor, not only in promoting the best of New York State agriculture, but ensuring that we provide New Yorkers with products at the highest standards. I want to stop just for a minute to acknowledge Commissioner Zucker, our Department of Health Commissioner, ran the steer with OGS, and Commissioner Zucker and I worked very hard on this program, and there's a number of people here in the governor's task force that worked on that. I want to thank them all publicly for their help all along the way. We're in the middle of a great local food movement, and people everywhere are starting to have a greater interest in their food, where it comes from, who grew it, how it was grown. They're getting eager to get back to knowing what your grandmother and my grandmother knew about food, how to prepare it, how to store it, and how to get the best nutrition value out of it. New York State Grown and Certified is a very exciting program that helps us meet that demand. And with so many labels on food today in the grocery store, this program will provide clarity rather than adding to the confusion. It will give consumers an easy way to identify foods that are grown not only locally, but also foods they can feel good about eating and giving to their families. For New York's producers and retailers, this program is a great opportunity to take advantage of the growing demand for healthy and local foods. When shoppers see the New York State Grown and Certified seal in their neighborhood grocery store or their green market or the food box, they can feel confident that they're buying a product that comes from a producer who adheres to the highest level of safe handling practices and does so in an environmentally friendly way. And by buying local, consumers will know their purchase is supporting the state's important agricultural community and our New York State economy. For growers, there are 3 components to becoming New York State certified. It's a voluntary program, but producers must qualify. First, they must be a New York farmer or producer. Secondly, they will be required to participate in our Agricultural Environmental Management Program, or AIM. And third, they must meet the requirements of existing food safety programs, and in our case with food, what we call Good Agricultural Practices, or GAP program, which is administered and certified by USDA. So far, we have over 100 farms in our state that qualify from across the state, and our job at Ag and Markets will be to enable all New York State producers across all commodities and assist them in getting involved in our voluntary program. What's even more exciting, New York State Grown and Certified is supported by a marketing campaign that will highlight and promote awareness of our participating producers. The marketing campaign includes an on-product label, promotional materials such as New York State Grown and Certified website, video, and a brochure to encourage program participation and to educate retail, wholesale, restaurant, and institutional buyers about the value of environmental management programs and our food safety program in the state. New York State Certified is a commitment to assure New Yorkers that New York State maintains a high degree of vigilance over our food supply. The governor recognizes that we have some of the best producers in the nation who take great care in producing foods that are safely handled and who are doing so in an environmentally sound way. It's a message we need and want to communicate to our consumers. And at this point, I'd like to stop. Paul, if you could run a video.
New York State grows and produces the world's finest agricultural products. And from day one, Governor Andrew Cuomo has been supporting and growing this great industry. Now, New York is once again taking the lead with a first-in-the-nation program called New York State Grown and Certified. It's a new program that will promote New York State's high-quality agricultural products and strengthen consumer confidence in the foods they buy in stores, supermarkets, and restaurants. Because the New York food products that meet good agricultural practices for food safety and environmental standards that protect our land, our resources, and our futures will be able to display the new label. So today, as consumers care so much about what they eat and what they feed their families, and with so many confusing and unsupported claims being made, New York will soon be providing a reassurance that will be valuable to consumers and supportive to growers and manufacturers. For participants, the qualifying process will be fast, easy, and voluntary. And for consumers, it will end the confusion in the marketplace and give them another reason to buy New York-made products. They'll just look for the New York State Grown and Certified label, a label that will tell them all they need to know, tells them what to choose, and what's best for their families. New York State Grown and Certified. Good for New York's food industry, good for New York's families.
Pretty nice. I'm thinking back to my very first conversation with our governor. It revolved around connecting the dots. Again, connecting the dots. Between upstate and downstate, between our agricultural community and the most diverse and amazing marketplace right here, between our food system and those who needed access to it. Today, this is connecting the dots at its best. Please join me in welcoming the individual who has provided the leadership and the opportunity today to connect the dots, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you today. First, I want you to know everything you see before you, all these crops from my home. I am also a farmer, one of the few farmers who originated from Queens, New York, small farm. That's actually not true. But it is quite a selection, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back in the Bronx, pleasure to be with Ruben. I'm a big fan of your borough president. I don't know why he needed such an elaborate answer to that question when I'm asked, why do you like Andrew Cuomo? Why? Because he's good for the environment? That's the best you could do? I mean, there were so many more obvious things you could have come up with. Why do I like Andrew Cuomo? Good looking, funny, charming, witty, good for the environment. I mean, that's nice, but it's not like the first thing you say. Meet my friend, he's good for the environment. Dad, I want to marry this girl, she's good for the environment. I mean, who says something like that? Anyway, you're good for transportation. That's what I'm going to say about you. Anybody asks. Ruben, he's good for transportation. Pleasure to be with you. Good for transportation. Yeah, okay. Also a pleasure to be with my colleagues from the Assembly and the Senate. This is a program in New York State that we're really excited about. It's one of the really innovative programs, and it wouldn't have happened without them. Senator Jeff Klein, who represents the IDC, the Independent Democratic Conference, and has been essential to all of our negotiations, the budget, everything that we do. He's been a great colleague, a great friend, and he's gotten a lot of things done for the state of New York. Jeff Klein. Assemblywoman Arroyo, who's like a sister to me, always keeping me in line and always telling me exactly what I should do. Pleasure to be with you. And Assemblyman Marcus Crespo is really one of the young rising stars in the state. I was with him in Puerto Rico. We did a lot of great work down there. But he really is. When we talk about the next generation, I think of Marcus Crespo. Pleasure to be with him. And I have Commissioner Ball mentioned our other commissioners who were here. This was a joint project in the state. Obviously, Commissioner Ball ran the project and did a great job. But our health commissioner, who is also part of it and brought his expertise to the table, I want to thank him, Commissioner Zucker. And our Commissioner for Office of General Services, Rowan DeStito. Thank you very much, Rowan. Borough President mentioned that I like coming to the Bronx. I'll tell you why I like coming to the Bronx. Because I like the Borough President, for reasons we named. And also because the Bronx is making great progress in getting things done. I just did a talk this morning to a group of housing and community development people, sustainable development, economic development, et cetera. And it brought me back to my days when I was at HUD, Housing and Urban Development. And I was secretary of HUD for 8 years. And we talked about housing programs, economic development programs, how do you turn around an urban area. We've been talking about it for 50, 60 years. And we know how to do it. We know how to build affordable housing. We know how to do economic development. We know how to get young people jobs. Our problem as a society has been the doing, not the thinking, not the conceptualizing. We have the programs. We haven't had the managers to implement them. And that's a greater need for progressive government than the advocacy and the concepts is the doing it. What happened in the Bronx under this borough president, and his predecessor started it, he is doing it. One of the main problems, unemployment for young minority males in the Bronx, nationwide. Borough president called me up. He said, let's get on this. Let's do it together. Let's form a strike force. We'll put your assets together with my assets. Get these young people jobs. Get them off the street. No good comes from when they're on the corner. Let's get them trained. Let's get them hooked up with a job. We came up with a job voucher program, with a training program. 7,600 people trained and employed by the task force. And you want to talk about the proof in the pudding. There's only one set of numbers you have to look at. What is the unemployment rate? Because the unemployment rate says everything. It says who's about to get into trouble, what the revenues are, how much opportunity. Over the past few years, from 13% to 7% unemployment. That's why I like coming to the Bronx. Because he is getting it done, and we're getting it done together. So, one more round of applause for the borough president. And this initiative today is actually going to help a small way in terms of the economy. We're building a 120,000 square foot building that will employ 100 people full time, so it'll also be bringing more jobs to the Bronx. But this project I'm very excited about because it is one of the visionary projects that the state is doing. And it's going to work today. It's going to work even better tomorrow. One of the issues that is developing is the issue of food safety. I never heard of food safety 20 years ago. I guarantee you, you will be hearing more and more about this 20 years from now. Food safety is knowing what you eat and knowing where it came from and knowing how it was handled what chemicals, what pesticides were used, what antibiotics were used, because as time has gone on, we have used more and more chemicals. We aren't fully aware of what it means to combine those chemicals, what it means when they're combined in food, and the lack of knowledge is frightening. And you see this movement starting to grow. Know what you eat, natural foods, organic foods. And you go into a store now, everything has marketing on it that suggests that it is natural or that it is healthy, right? Cage-free eggs, chickens that roam the landscape eggs, chickens that have never seen a cage, happy chicken eggs are healthier eggs. It's organic, it's natural, antibiotic-free, all these terms. You have stores and chains that now specialize in organic, natural, because people understand more and more that we have to be careful of what we eat. And we have to be careful of what medicines we're putting into animals that we then eat. So people understand the need. I spoke to the Attorney General about this. I think there's also a great consumer fraud case that goes with this, because many of these definitions, many of these terms have no definition. There is no definition for natural. There is no legal definition for antibiotic-free, range-free. You know, there's no, these are just marketing terms without legal definitions, suggesting to the consumer that these are more safe or these are actually healthier. But there's ambiguity in this entire area. What the state of New York is going to do is this. We are going to define those terms, what it means to have a natural product, an antibiotic-free product, safe handling. A lot of the problems are the handling of products. Are they washed? Are they washed thoroughly? Do they have bacteria on them? Do they have viruses on them when they come to the store, et cetera? We're going to define all of this in law and regulation. And then the New York State Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health will go to farms and certify that the products are being raised or produced that way. They will do on-site inspections. And if the farm participates in this program, New York Grown and Certified, they will get a special demarcation that says New York Grown and Certified, meaning they complied with these definition and terms, and they were inspected by the New York State Department of Agriculture and the New York State Department of Health, okay? So it has the credibility of the state government with the strictest regulations and on-site inspection. So if you are concerned about what you eat, as you should be, and it matters to you that it's safe, this is going to be the safest product. This gets even more complicated because a lot of the food that we are now bringing in, we don't make in this state, we don't make in this country. It comes in from overseas. You look at a lot of the organic product, it comes in from overseas. China is producing a lot of our food. China, their official reports say 80% of the land is polluted. 20% of the water is polluted and unsafe to drink. So, you don't really know how these products are being grown. FDA, that looks at foreign products, inspects 1% of the products that come in. And when you walk down the aisle in a grocery store, it's like walking through the United Nations. This from China, this from Argentina, this from Turkey. What does it mean? What is it eating? What are you eating? No state in the nation does this. It will be the safest food produced, and only New York State farms can be part of this program. The borough president talked about connecting the dots. New York City, 8 million people, 8 million mouths. Upstate New York, fewer people, a lot of agricultural production. and the agricultural sector has been struggling. We think this does two things. It will give New Yorkers the safest food on the globe to eat, subject to the strictest requirements, inspected by the best government on the globe, I believe. And it will stimulate the upstate economy, because we're going to take television advertisements to advertise this program, and we believe it's going to give the upstate farms an advantage. So why should the upstate farmer participate? Because this is harder? Because we're going to advertise, and we believe this is the market of tomorrow, because people will care about what they're eating. And if they know that this product was grown or raised under the strictest standards, that's going to make a difference. And we're going to get the word out, and we're just starting today, but we're going to go to the Board of Education in New York City, Mr. Goldstein. We're going to say, look, you can buy products. Why not buy the safest products anywhere? We're going to go to our friends like Ken Rasky, who run the hospitals, and they buy a lot of food. And we're going to say, look, you buy a lot of food. Why not give your people the best, the safest food possible? And that's exactly what we know this is. So it's a win-win. It is good for everyone. It's safer for everyone. You're eating more healthy than ever before. And it's going to help our brothers and sisters in the upstate economy. Again, no state in the nation has done it. I'm excited. I think it puts us ahead of the curve. And this is where the industry is going to go, and this is where we should be going anyway. New York State, in many ways, is the state government that leads the way on many issues, from passing laws like paid family leave and raising the minimum wage. This is another instance where I think New York State is ahead of the curve, and New York State is going to lead the way to the advantage of New Yorkers. Let the other governments follow, because it's good for everyone, but let New York go first. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, let's bring the next group in, please.
Hold on. We didn't stop.
I'm sorry.
Let's smile now. Let's look up.
Oh, sorry, 1 second, please.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, guys. Jose? Senatore?
Keep coming down this way, guys. While I fill the next group in. Sucker, please stay. Mr.